In this episode, the Apple App Store versus the Android App Store, Google Chrome 7, and Linux Mint 9. QuickSurf Internet Media presents Linux News Log, separating the Linux and open source signal from the noise. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm your host Adrian, coming to you almost live from lovely Phoenix, Arizona, here in Studio C1. Linux News Log is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Do feel free to head on over to techpodcast.com and check out all the other technology-related shows. Let's go ahead and get into the stories for Season 11, Episode 6. From Business Wire, there's a story here. Wyse Unveils Expanded Strategy for Cloud Client Computing and a Mobile Cloud Business Unit. Wyse Technology, the global leader in cloud client computing, today announced an expanded strategy building its leadership in thin and zero client computing, desktop virtualization, unified communications, and mobile access to virtual environments for true cloud computing on any computing platform, desktops, laptops, and the next generation mobile devices. Wyse, along with key partners including Citrix, IBM, Microsoft, VMware, and others, along with a channel ecosystem of more than 3,000 resellers, are combining to deploy today's leading technology solutions. So the thing that I wonder is, how does this really apply to Linux? Well, part of the strategy of that is providing an expanded firmware offering included standards, Windows, and Linux with exclusive Wyse-developed firmware technologies for their thin OS. So you can actually go in there and get some type of, Linux distribution. It remains to be seen whether or not this is actually going to be anything useful, but I'll be interested to see, how this works when it actually becomes available. Let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor for this episode, GoToAssist Express. There are a variety of tools that let you remotely support a client, colleague, or friend, but the only one I trust and rely on is GoToAssist Express. It's the best remote support tool, and it's designed for small to medium-sized businesses, and it's brought to you by Citrix. Why GoToAssist Express? Well, you have exceptional performance, it's extremely easy to use, and it's secure. IT professionals, really anybody who doesn't have time to squander with a tool that's slow or unreliable, will appreciate GoToAssist Express. With GoToAssist Express, you have no IT maintenance or updating. It's so fast you'll be on the other computer troubleshooting or doing a tutorial or whatever it is you need to do in seconds, and it's consistently reliable. My audience can try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days. For this special offer, visit gotoassist.com/techpodcast. I repeat, my audience can try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days. For this special offer, visit gotoassist.com/techpodcast. From the Register, I found this really interesting story. Retired Joint Chiefs Chairman dons a red hat. This is pretty neat. What do you get when you cross a red hat with a green beret? I don't know, but the commercial Linux and Java application server markets are about to find out. Retired General Henry Hugh Shelton, a native Tar Heel born in Tarboro, North Carolina, and a former commander of the 82nd Airborne Division based in Fort Bragg, was named chairman of the board of directors at Red Hat on Monday, which is today when I'm recording. It would be impossible to find someone who said North Carolina more than Shelton, who has been on board at Red Hat since April 2003, a year and a half after he retired from the Army, and his position of chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So, apparently he's been around the block. It'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table and how that affects Red Hat going forward, but I thought it was pretty neat. From IT News for Australian Business over at itnews.com.au, I found the story. Microsoft says Samba is cooperating. Microsoft says Samba cooperation is working well, and this is pretty neat. Microsoft's key open source executive said that an ongoing agreement between the Redmond Giant and the developers of Samba continued to prove productive for both sides. Samba, which we all know was originally developed by an Australian coder and open source advocate, Andrew Tridgell. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. Has long occupied a critical place in the Linux and Unix community, allowing interoperability with Windows networks. And that is truer now than it has ever been. If you're on Linux, and you need to talk to a Windows computer, Samba is the way to go. However, Microsoft's unwillingness to document its protocols has led to quite a few bugs. We're all, it's been a rough road, but in 2007, the Samba team and Microsoft came up with this agreement where Microsoft says, hey, listen, just for interoperability's sake, let's go in and, come up with an agreement where we can share information just to make sure that we have our interoperability at a high level. So that's what's been happening. This is an update of that. It's been working really well. It's been a few years, and more power to them. From MWD.com, Apple's App Store versus the Android App Store. I found this to be kind of interesting simply because it breaks out a couple of statistics. Apple's App Store is well equipped with 250,000 apps, and 70% of those apps are supplied purely through payment. Now, in contrast, Android's apps, out of Android's apps, 64% of the 95,000 apps are supplied free of cost from Google's Android market. Kind of interesting. Developers are showing a little more proclivity towards Apple than Google as the money-making. Developers are showing a little more proclivity towards Apple than they are to Google, because the whole point of writing an app is to make some money off of it. Money makes the world go around. If you invest time, especially if it's something that you invest a lot of time in, you need to be compensated somehow. So it's interesting to see that, Apple is the platform for making money, at least thus far. One of the other comparisons is Android doesn't have any approval process, and so there's a huge opportunity for programs to not work as they're advertised, for people to go throw basically crap up there that probably shouldn't be in the App Store in the first place. But that's something that they're going to have to iron out, because it's like the Wild Wild West. As opposed to Apple has a really strict approval process. And, your program pretty much has to do what it says it does, and it can't have any major show-stopping bugs or any of that other stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how Android moves forward with that in the future. Another thing, Apple's devices are already super popular all over the world. Their smartphones, their iPhone, iPod Touch, the iPad is a huge hit for Apple. Android's got some steam behind it. It's been picking up. But, it's still one of those things where it's not quite hit the mass, people super excited about it. Like, for example, I have an iPhone. Do I have an iPhone? Yes. I have an iPhone. Okay. I'm not interested in buying an Android-based device because I've seen them and the user interface, and I need a phone that just works. And there's still some stuff that needs to work out with the Android and the UI and that sort of thing before I'd be willing to even buy one. From desktoplinux.com, Linux Mint 9 offers a new software manager and backup tool. The Linux Mint team has released a final version of Linux Mint 9, Isadora. Again, I'm terrible with names. Please correct me. It's based on Ubuntu 10.04, which I'm a little disappointed in. I would really hope that they would release a version based off of 10.10 I realize 10.04 is the latest version, but 10.10 is on the verge of coming out if it hasn't already. I haven't even looked to see if it has yet, but it's on the verge of coming out. Why can't they release something based on 10.10? Again, a gripe. It features a new software manager with 30,000 packages, which is nice. There's a new backup tool, ever important, keep your stuff backed up, and a menu and interface improvements. So pretty neat stuff. Check it out if you're a Linux Mint user. From Softpedia, Google Chrome 7.0 gets device orientation and speech input by default. This is pretty neat. Google Chrome developers have been adding a number of new features lately, especially now that work on Chrome 7.0 has started. And while many benefits existing users, quite a few target Chrome OS and the devices it's going to run on, such as device orientation and speech input. They're enabled by default in the latest Chromium builds, with the latter only with Windows users. The two features aren't really that useful on desktops or even really laptops, but are right at home on tablets, convertible netbooks that are a tablet and a netbook, and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how this all works out in the future. That'll pretty much do it for this edition of Linux News Log. As always, I thank you for watching and or listening. For those of you who are on YouTube and blip.tv and all those other video sharing sites out there, do feel free to subscribe to the show. And with that, I will see all of you on the next episode. Twitter.com/Adrian_Bacon. See you then. Bye.